I mean, the shot's not released as the screen's coming, like it kind of moves, so it's not like it's not a perfectly timed moving screen, but again, to the patience to hold there.
Yeah, and I mean, there are also some things here I think can be cleaner too, like the skating, I think is just from here, for me, it's a little bit wide of a position from where the puck is out there. Like I think the feet can be narrower, so the skating can be a little bit cleaner coming across, but I mean, it's not a perfect game, so that's just the way things develop sometimes. But I think what's important here is getting to this set position early and establishing my ice and where I am. So then from here, it's understanding that spot and then looking around and trying to find a screen. So I think for me, what's important is really just getting the sight line anywhere is a priority. Okay. I think you can definitely, you're always going to be aware of where the net is. So I think even sometimes if you have to move your feet a little bit around the traffic, I think it's fine as long as you understand where the net is and say, okay, if I move my feet here,
I have to cover
a small shift to cover this post
right.
is okay. I think that's such a priority, is just getting the sight line. So I think it's, on this play, I think it's understanding too where Nylander's coming from. So he's starts on the glove side and he's skating across. So when players usually skate that route, they're either going to stop or they're going to keep going to the like flash to the far side like he does for like a kind of like a downhill tip.
Yeah.
So I think understanding where he's coming from and having reps of seeing that pattern, then for me, I'm understanding that I'm going to get to here and then he's going to cross my body. So it's like before he even gets across, I'm already like starting that movement to look to the other side, because it's just going to open up quicker instead of like.
And because of the pace and him coming across that, if you try and follow him and hold short side, you're going to pull yourself right out of the net.
Yeah, right. So I do think like a lefty on this side of the ice, if you can be on the short side, that's your ideal. But I think you also have to understand it's a moving game, and being able to see the puck and like just play it in a realistic way, I guess.
Might be different if he was stationary and planted in front of you.
Yeah. I think like, say it was like a low to high and he's like just a net front presence and it's a lefty here, then I think you're on the short side, like looking for the sight line. But I think on this play, it's getting to this spot, top of the crease here, and then understanding that he's going to flash across. So it's okay, giving up the short side for a little bit, and then just being aware of where the net is. So okay, maybe I'm a little bit more this way, but just understanding that, and then it's also too understanding like where the shot blocker is. So like this shot blocker is basically covering this whole half of the net. So that kind of dictates a lot of like where that shot's going to go. Like if you see from the point he releases the puck, he doesn't have access to the whole net to shoot it to. So then from there you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive too, especially with the threat of that tip on the side too. I think either way in this position, it's either going to be a shot to the side or it's going to be a downhill tip. So
probably going right out.
Right, and then I think it's just important there. Hold the feet, and then from here, I think it's important that in the middle of the save, the puck's like halfway to the net, and I still have like both feet. I think that's
got your edges.
Really important, just to be able to manage the puck coming in and be able to control the body as well. So then from there, it's then you can use the elbow to make the save there.
Now again, like there's a little bit of like it calls for a little extension, and maybe I don't know if desperation is the right word, but you get rotation into that push, which was like I was like, wow. So
the funny thing about this play is, I didn't totally see the guy making the pass.
Okay.
So this save happens from the read of the guy backdoor. I don't know if I can see when I take a look. It was almost like instinctual that the guy was backdoor, because right here I don't even see what's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was almost like I really hope he passes this type of thing.
Right.
And then as soon as I saw he did, just because the guys come in front. So I remember this play at like just barely seeing the pass.
But but again, like once you see it, like we talked about eyes, and it leads a little bit of rotation. Like if you push flat at him, he's got everything.
Yeah, no, it was good to get the rotation, and then you go into a bit of the desperation, like paddle down, kind of falling forward type of play, and it just worked out.
You talked about eyes. Eyes are there.
Yeah,
right?
again, it's the eyes that'll save you in the scrambly plays, for sure.
Okay. Go next one.
So yeah, first you want to figure out, what their options are and what kind of depth that you want.
Yeah.
And what hands the shooters are at.
Okay. So are you picking that up as they cross the line? You've got that figured out?
Crossing the line. So obviously you can see it's a 3-on-2. Bedard's on his one timer, the other guy's on his offhand. And so he can pass to one or the other, but he's so far out now that it's not a huge deal where he can pass. But here it's like I would honestly rather play a little bit deeper. I think this is my very first game. And so my very first game, I actually remember I was being a little bit more aggressive because I was a little bit more like intense. Like I got to have all this adrenaline, but in an ideal world, especially when the puck's out here and his only option now is to hit this guy, like coming down the weak side is to play a little bit deep. There's no reason to be, heels on the top of your crease. I would want kind of like here now, like toes, top of the crease, I think is a perfect position. And then that he's passing to this guy here and he's on his offhand. So you definitely want to get there on your feet. There's no reason to slide there. You don't want to like screw yourself over. And then from there, it's just, make a save. But when he passes it, you want to turn your head, turn your hands, realize that he's on his offhand. You should already know that, as they go over the goal line. So that there's not a huge rush to get there. You can get there on your feet and still have time. And then from here, it was just like, just make a save. And obviously this is a little unorthodox. I'm sitting back a lot here, which is not ideal. But again, this is my first game. So I was like, just be an athlete, just make the save. And because he was on his offhand there, I knew that his only options to shoot at where he was going to have room was going to be high glove, or he was going to go like a 5-hole, but he's coming down, and when he releases it, his blade is like pretty open. So I knew he was going to go high glove. And that's when you can kind of like, that's just like a read where it's like, just be an athlete, be in the VH and maybe windmill him or whatever. Because I knew that's probably what he was going to shoot at, and it ended up working out.
That's funny. It reminds me of an old Carey Price read we did where he used sort of like almost like a VH on a rush chance like this, recognizing the same thing. Quickie used to do this a little bit too, sort of like, it's almost like a default block, but it's not a butterfly block, right? You're just taking away space because it's in so tight. I love the read on the hands though, and the blade. Like now that I see it, you're right. Like that blade is wide open of this frame here.
Yeah. So it can be the VH on that's my favorite save selection if they're on their offhand and it's on your glove side, because that they have nothing to shoot at really. But if you go into a butterfly, they can go low glove, they can go high glove a little bit, and so it's a little bit more reactionary, which from how close he is, it's really hard to react that quick. Like you got to read where he's going to shoot almost before he releases the puck, which is you can do with the way he's holding his blade. And so there it's like, okay, I know he's going high glove. And so that what's going to give me the best chance to save that high glove one, I thought at the time was going to be the VH, a little bit old school,
I think it's cool. Anytime like this, when you like get to play against the best players in the world and they get good looks, like just to test your skill set, and like that's what the game's all about. It's just,
I love that approach.
Like just these challenges, like that's the most fun part of the game. Like it's really cool, especially a team like the Leafs. Like there's so many great players, so it's awesome to be able to play.
Were you able to maintain that approach the whole time, like that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of, I guess, just my nature. Like, I think Devin actually said something after his first game when they played Panarin and all those guys, and he said like, you like want him to make a seam pass because like you want to make that save and like you want the chance against the best players in the world. And I think I see it kind of the same way. Like that's what you're out there for. You hope they get 2-on-1s and breakaways, and just because.
Well, that's why we play the game.
Oh, for sure.
Right, for those moments. But not everybody embraces it. Like we know, work with a mental skills coach who talks about that. Like say to yourself, we took a penalty. Bring on the power play. I got this.
I think it's awesome. Yeah. I think it's the most fun part of the game is making these saves, you know.
All right, so let's see it. So off the rush, what are you looking for as you're breaking out? Like it's a 4-on-3,
Yep.
so, and they're on the power play. And
Yep.
that's the one thing on power play. Sometimes as a goalie, if you let up and think, oh, they're just going to settle it down and not attack off the rush. I think more teams should attack off the rush in these moments because everybody sort of relaxes like, okay, they're going to set it up.
For sure. I think that's a part of it too. And I think it's just identifying like, okay, it's a 4-on-2 rush. So if they want to get a look off the rush, they're going to have the opportunity here. So I think it's playing it very true. And again, I think when the puck comes over the blue line, for me, the biggest thing is just scanning and understanding where guys are, which hand guys are shooting, what kind of routes they're taking. And then also too, like where the back pressure is, how the D are playing it. So here you can see like these two D are they're pretty centered on this side, which is probably how you want to play it. But you can see like some ice opening up on the weak side, especially with this trailing forward coming towards the puck carrier. And then you see Matthews like having a lot of soft ice over there. So you can kind of understand that that's where the play might be developing. And then from here, especially once his hands get so far behind his body like that.
You're not worried shot.
He can still shoot. He can still shoot from here. I think like, especially being a lefty, he could still like pull it and release it, but you can like, I think you can identify the pull when it happens. So I think it's just understanding what your threats are and how this play is developing.
Okay, without cheating to them prematurely.
Without cheating. I don't think you need to,
okay.
Or like, I think you can. Like, I think some guys, like some of the best goalies in the world, play it that way, which I think can makes a lot of sense for sure. But I think for this one, it's just understanding. Okay, he's making the pass there, and then it's important. I think that the skating is clean, and you can get the feet set on this save because I think Matthews is in such a good area there that you want to be set and have access to your edges. Just so for me at least, so I can be patient. Like, I think for me, I just want to be patient on this release. So I think for me, having access to my edges is so important on this type of save. And then he starts outside, pulls inside, and that's also like, of course, it's why he's one of the best players in the world. Like he scores so many goals that way. So it's obviously a really tough save to make, but I think it's just identifying there's a little bit of traffic here, so that it's probably going to dictate that he has to do something to get it around this traffic. So identifying that pull, and then from here it's just trying to be patient, really patient on the release, and then just kind of have active hands to.
Okay, I think we get another replay, so maybe you can just watch this one will show you, like what you're seeing and that patience and.
Again, I think for me the biggest thing is like being able to hold those edges. So like for me, like you can see like even he's like in the release and just still having access to those edges, I think is almost like the bravery that you need to, like it's important like to be brave in those plays. Like I think the best goalies in the world, like the Hellebucks, Shesterkins of the world, like these guys are so like confident in these positions, just the way they can hold their edges and have that skill set. And I think it's something like you try to emulate and learn from and just develop that skill and see the way that the best guys in the world do it.
Like for me here, like if he pulls this to shoot, like he's gonna get caught.
Right, because it's his forehand's on the chase side.
Yeah, so you can kind of figure like, unless like some guys will, like he is doing here,
hit the brakes.
Yeah, he's trying to like really lean into that stick to protect the puck.
Okay.
It looks like he's almost falling there, but that's one where you he's gonna deke. Like if he like the first clip you saw when the guy pulls it out and shoots it right away. Like if he does that there, like he's gonna get caught.
Right. Okay. So you're reading deke based off that.
Yeah.